Thank you for staying with us here on the AM show on Joy News. It's exactly a week since some 34 lives were lost in an accident at Dompoase Junction on the Elmina-Takoradi Road. The accident involved two buses which had a head-on collision. Police reports suggested a red bus traveling from Accra to Takoradi tried to overtake another vehicle in front of him and ended up running into an oncoming bus from Takoradi. An account the surviving driver rejects. Well, it's been a week when this incident happened. It got all of us, the entire nation, talking. A lot of us were angry, especially because on this particular stretch where this incident happened, our colleague, our correspondent in the Central Region, at least has reported about several accident cases on the same stretch. So question was, why do we keep allowing this to happen to us? Richard Kojinyako visited the area again. He's got an update 1 week on, but I have to bring the guys into this conversation, Kojo and Roland. This is one of the incidents. I think we're still talking about it even after a week, which is good because usually we start talking about something and then we all of us, we just let go and then we don't. But we're taking this very serious because this involves lives. Over 2,000 people dying last year alone.
Yeah, and that has been the number over the last 5 to about a decade now. And these are the official figures. But most worry is the fact that apart from the wrongful engineering of our roads, we also have the human element, which seem to be some of the causative factors for some of these accidents, which will mean that if they were eliminated or reduced, then we would have also reduced the numbers of not only the accidents, but the numbers that tend to die as a result of some of these inefficiencies that are recorded on the road.
Yeah.
We do know the incident has happened already, but it's the after effects that many of us would have to live with. It's the families. And Kojo has been very much empathetic, especially just like all of us, with how the families could be feeling right now.
And I couldn't believe that a parent was sending her child to school, had actually dropped the child and was returning
way back,
and then was involved in this accident. I mean, how do you break this news to the child who's even in school?
And you know, it's one of the things that it has really kept me up at night. It's this idea of, you know, lives cut short. Lives, people who had plans, who were thanking God just a couple of weeks ago for allowing them to make it into 2020. You know, being grateful for the opportunity of a whole year stretched out ahead of them to achieve whatever they could. And they're all snuffed out in a moment because of one decision that a driver made to overtake at the wrong time. But you see, in addition to what is now suspected to be, you know, bad driving, we must also ask a few questions about that particular location where we now know that a number of accidents have occurred at that very same spot. Would it be too much of a coincidence to imagine that they were all caused by bad driving? Is there possibly something about this particular spot that makes it more dangerous than other stretches of the road? Is it worth having a look at the engineering to see whether there are things that can be done to make that spot safer? You know, these are all questions that we should start asking because these lives are too valuable to simply allow to evaporate.
So here's how we start. Richard Kojinyako is our colleague. He reported this particular incident from day one. He goes back a week after to give us the story so far as we know it.
It's exactly a week ago that we lost 34 precious lives on the Cape Coast Takoradi Highway. Had it not been for the Ghana National Fire Service, the number could have even shot up. They were able to do that kind courtesy, this rescue tender that's here. I'm told it is the only one we have in the country. So if they did not have this rescue tender here, then it means that the number was going to shoot up.
We received a call from one of the victims at around 25 minutes past 12 midnight. And quickly our rescue team was dispatched to the scene. So when they got to the scene, they assessed the situation and they realized that no, in order to be able to effectively rescue those people alive and in time, they needed an assistance. They needed more hands on deck. Because imagine about 60-seater capacity buses which are fully loaded. So we're talking about almost 100 people at a go. Yes, getting to 120. So we.
Oh. I think one of the institutions that we have to thank God for, and we thank God that they were able to contain all the patients that, you know, the injured that were rushed in. The Cape Coast Teaching Hospital, I think they've done an extremely good job. We didn't hear them complain, you know, no birds, no this, no that, but they took in what had come in, and I think they managed the situation really, really well.
I think it's because it looks to be this is just one of a few of the incidents in which we had emergency response, because you had the National Fire Service come in as quickly as possible. Road safety officials were there. You had road safety management services with their tow trucks also coming in quickly as possible. So then the police, then the rescue, ferrying or cutting or transporting these to Interbeton was also as quickly as possible.
So I guess the whole chain.
So it was the Central Regional Hospital, not the Cape Coast Teaching Hospital.
That's different, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Cape Coast Teaching Hospital is on UCC campus, and then the Central Regional Hospital is in.
So they took them to
yeah, but I think it's been you know, that was a well coordinated response. What I don't get is the roads minister, the transport minister, you know, like all the political officials and the speeches that they give, carrying themselves to places like these when we record such incident. And I don't like, what's the point when you keep going there and we keep recording the same kind of incident?
It's
like,
an interesting,
do you get it?
It's an interesting question. We can break it down. What do they go there for? When
nothing really. What are they assessing? We've had technical people go to do that.
So usually when you hear them, they say, oh, we've gone to assess the situation. You know, we've gone to assess the situation.
What are they assessing?
But in fact, what professional capacity do they bring to that assessment? Should it not be road safety officials who go there to assess it? Why does
they had done that already.
Yeah, why does a politician go there? They say, oh, to show sympathy to the dead. But is it really sympathy that they need at this point?
Make sure the hospital that's taking care of the injured are well equipped so that they can handle the emergency.
And they leave, you see, what bothers me is they leave problems that they could be solving to travel, to go and stand in front of a camera and offer platitudes.
That doesn't impress me.
Yeah.
It doesn't solve anything. We have to be focused. Let's equip the National Fire Service, the team that went to the place. You know, that's it. Emergencies will happen, but how do we handle it? So this is our reflections of the incident that happened exactly a week ago that got all of us talking. We continue to pray, you know, for the families. The very, very personal stories in there, and so
we'll bring ultimately the stories all out to bear. We're just not going to leave it after today.
Absolutely.
And tell the stories of those who have been left behind.
Yeah. Coming up next, though, is show business. We've got Max coming up with a lot of details in show business today. Stay with us.